Nikki Gozer. She's the 2012 Sybil Ludington Women's Freedom Award given by the NRA. And Nikki, for folks who don't know you and know your story, quickly tell us how you got in this place. What happened?
Back in 2009, a man that had been stalking me murdered my husband right in front of me. And this occurred in a restaurant that serves alcohol. It was a gun-free zone at the time. In Tennessee, you were not allowed as a permit holder to have a gun in an establishment that serves alcohol. I was a permit holder at the time, and I had to leave my illegal permitted gun locked in the car, but my stalker brought his gun in illegally and shot my husband 6 times right in front of me.
And that happening led you through, anyone can imagine, a very difficult time in life to become an activist. To really, I mean, you have been unflinching in your support and trying to get things changed in Tennessee. What kind of drove you to do that?
You know, I'm just tired of seeing innocent people harmed by these criminals, by perpetrators, people with evil intent. I'm trying to get the word out and educate people about the dangers of gun-free zones, the dangers of some forms of gun control, and the fact that you need to protect yourself and your family, because when seconds count, the police are minutes away, and it's not their fault. You know, they can't be anywhere and everywhere at any time. They are literally the cleanup crew most of the time. They are there in enough time to put up the crime scene tape and take pictures of either you or your loved one. And I think most rank and file police officers, at least the ones I've spoken with, they support right to carry. They really do.
And you've been, like I said, you know, we're Facebook friends and all that stuff. You've been unflinching in your activism, and I don't think the NRA couldn't give this to a more deserving person, because this can't be. This is very personal for you. Yet you've never, you know, shied away from your support of the Second Amendment and this issue in particular in Tennessee. So it can't be easy.
It's not easy. You know, I had to develop thick skin in order to talk about what happened the night of Ben's murder. But, you know, you talk about it and you know you're talking about it for a purpose that could help save innocent lives. And it's worth it, you know. It's worth trying to help people understand our Second Amendment and why it's so important, and making them think about protecting themselves and their family.
Yeah, and I tell this to folks I talk to, because I've talked to folks like you, and I have the privilege to do that, and other ladies in the shooting sports and other things, and I tell them, you guys don't realize it is important and what great work you're doing, because it's such an impact, especially for women. You are looked up to. So by you taking that stance, I just want to say bravo, because you're doing a great job. Now, someone who's not doing such a great job, there's a story that's kind of going viral. Mm-hmm. The Tennessee, and your own local paper there, did a story about you, but they left a couple of things out. What happened?
You know, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I don't know, but they totally left out the fact that I was a permit holder at the time of my husband's murder, and that I was basically disarmed by Tennessee state law. I had to leave the gun locked in my car. They didn't mention that the man was actually stalking me in the story, and they certainly didn't mention the award. So I don't know. But he was certainly a nice guy. I mean, the writer was a nice guy, but...
And we were talking before we went on camera here, whether he did it on purpose, we don't know. But the point is that by omitting that stuff, it changes and sort of spins the story, and people's perception of you in the story, no doubt, is going to have an effect.
Right. The way the story was written, it made it appear as though I feared guns all the way up to the point that my husband was killed, and then I changed my mind and became a gun owner. And the fact is, I supported gun rights before.
And we've had you on, and speaking of Nikki Gozer, by the way, she's the 2012 NRA Sybil Ludington Women's Freedom Award winner. Now, we've had you on NRA News, Cam and Company before, and Janice talked to you. And we last time we talked about, in my mind, there's such a parallel here on the situation that you were put in, being a law-abiding gun owner, and a person who follows the rules, has a permit, does everything but to watch what happened. And I think about Susanna Gracia Hupp and what happened to her in Texas. And the frustration you must feel as a law-abiding gun owner to be restricted like this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, bad guys are not going to follow the law. And that's what I'm trying to help the general public understand is you can have all of these zones where guns aren't allowed, and all it does is restrict the law abiding. You know, the penalties are by far greater for people like you and I than they are for a bad guy. Bad guy who's just bent on doing evil, most of the time, they're suicidal anyway. These people that we see in these mass shootings anyway, or they're crazy. A person with that kind of mindset isn't going to be concerned about harming innocent people. They're not going to be concerned that there might be a civil suit held against them if they harm an innocent person. But people like you and I, you know, that's a real penalty. To carry in a gun-free zone and have a gun violation on your record, that's a true penalty for us, you know?
And we always say, and we say this, more gun laws aren't going to help because we're the good guys. We follow the laws, but the criminals don't follow the bloody laws.
Right, and they never will.
So to wrap things up here, what do you say to someone watching, or especially young ladies watching or listening to us about the importance of being able to protect themselves? What do you say to them? Go, oh, no, I don't want guns, and they're scary and this, that. What do you say to them?
You know what? I used to be that person that would sit there at home and watch the news, and I would see these horrible events unfold. You know, innocent people harmed, and yeah, I'll never forget seeing the story about Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And those were two students that were just minding their own business. They had a happy life. They were in the parking lot of an apartment, and they were kidnapped and brutally murdered. They were tortured first, but just awful. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, you know, I should get my handgun carry permit. And don't wait until something happens to either yourself or your loved one. Don't just sit there and think, well, maybe I'll get it, well, maybe I won't. Evil can visit you at any time, anywhere, and evil doesn't care what age you are, what color you are, what your financial situation is, where you live. Evil can visit you at any time, anywhere. And my purpose is not to scare anyone, but to simply make you think about yourself and your family and protecting your family, because evil can visit you.
Nikki Gozer, God bless you, and thanks for being on NRA News.
Thank you, John.